Hello friends, my name is Cindy and I am one of the children's librarians at Portland Public Library in Portland, Maine. And today we're going to do the final reading of Piper Green and the Fairy Tree in Too Much Luck. And that is by Ellen Potter and illustrated by Qin Leng. Are you ready? Let's find out what's going to happen. Here's the picture. Chapter 9, Big Trouble. After that incident, everybody wanted to hear my own words. First, it was Mrs. Waterman, the principal. She called me into her office and asked me what I had said to Camilla. Well, I guess you must already know, right? I said, or I wouldn't be sitting here. That's true, but I want to hear it in your own words, Piper, Mrs. Waterman said. So I told her. Actually, it didn't sound like such a great brainchild when I said it out loud. After that, Mrs. Arabella wanted to hear the story in my own words, too. When I got to the Wicked Witch part, I thought her face would turn bright pink, but it didn't. It just looked sad. Do you really think I'm like a wicked witch? She asked. No, I really don't, Miss Arabella. I mean, sometimes you get a little crabby, but you do a lot of nice things, too. I only said that to Camilla because I want Nacho to come back. I see. Ms. Arabella looked at me carefully. Piper, you have a lot of passion. Do you know what that means? I thought about it for a moment. That I feel things with all my heart? I said. Exactly, and that's wonderful. All those important people I was talking about today had a lot of passion too. Even the witch from New Jersey? I asked. Ms. Arabella looked confused. Then she said, Oh, you mean the person who uses the magic wand. That wasn't a witch, that was a magician, David Copperfield. And yes, he is passionate about music. Magic. It's good to be passionate, Piper, but you also have to think things through before you speak. Camilla was very upset. She was so afraid to come back to our classroom that Mr. Grindle had to take her home early. He said she just sat in the wheelhouse and cried the whole time. Oh, my eyeballs felt hot and wet. Ms. Arabella put her box of tissues in front of me. I took one out and wiped my eyes. But tomorrow she will be back in our classroom, Piper, and I want you to find a way to make her feel comfortable here. I nodded and sniffled. By the way, said Ms. Arabella, I went to visit Nacho last night. Mrs. Hanover said that our class could come to her house and visit him whenever we like. She owns 3 other rabbits, too, and Nacho has a new rabbit best friend named Coco. He does? I said. My voice sounded croaky. Ms. Arabella nodded. He seemed very happy, Piper. He was doing that thing. And then, do you know what Ms. Arabella did? She stood right up and she did a binky, for real. She looked like a total madman. The people who were the most interested in hearing my own words, though, were my parents. Mrs. Waterman had already called and told them what happened. Still, they kept saying, What did you tell that little girl? When I told them, they said, Wait, let me get this straight. You told her what? This is her talking to her parents. Then I had to tell the whole story all over again. Well, I was planning on bringing my blueberry molasses cake to Camilla's family after dinner, Mom said, but I think we had all better go there right now so you can apologize profusely. Does that mean the same thing as passionately? I asked. Pretty much, said Mom. Chapter 10. Mermaids. The lighthouse keeper's cottage is just a quick walk down the road from our house. It's a little white cottage that sits right next to the old lighthouse. There was a big yellow moving van in front of it. Dad knocked on the door. A tall lady with short red hair and freckles all over her face answered it. Mom held out her blueberry molasses cake to the lady. Welcome to Peekaboo Island, said Mom. Oh, thank you. The woman took the cake with a nice smile. We're the Greens, Dad said. We live just up the road a piece. The gray shingle house with the red trim. Stop by anytime. I'm Leo. Leo held out his hand. Camilla's mom smiled and shook it. Pleased to meet you, Leo, she said. I'm Mrs. Mackey. Leo reached into his back pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. He unfolded it and held it up. This is my wife, Michelle, Leo said. Nice to meet you, Michelle, Mrs. Mackey said to the paper. She didn't even give him the old hairy eyeball or anything. And what's this here? She pointed to a drawing of a dolphin on the corner of the paper. Leo made a grimace. Michelle got a tattoo the other day. He leaned close to Mrs. Mackey and said quietly, I'm not happy about it, but what are you going to do? And this, Mom gave me a little nudge forward, is Piper. I believe she and Camilla had a little misunderstanding at school today. Piper wants to apologize to her. Mom glared at me profusely. Yes, we heard about what happened, said Mrs. Mackey. I waited for Mrs. Mackey to ask me to tell it in my own words. Instead, she said, Camilla is playing down on the beach, Piper. Why don't you go join her? Okay, I said nervously. I didn't think Camilla was going to be too happy to see me. I walked down the steep, scratchy path that led to the beach. Camilla was squatting by a tide pool, poking at seaweed with a stick. Hi, Camilla, I said. She didn't say anything, which was definitely strange for a chatterbox like her. I just want to say that I am extremely sorry for telling you that Ms. Arabella is a wicked witch, I told her. I am sorry with all my heart. Camilla nodded. She's not really a wicked witch, you know, I said. I know, Camilla replied. I squatted down next to her. I only told you that because I wanted Nacho to come back. He's our class rabbit, but we had to give him away because you're allergic. That's why I wanted to scare you, so you wouldn't come to our school. My own words sounded pretty mean, actually. I didn't know about Nacho, Camilla said. Then she sighed. I wish I wasn't allergic to rabbits because I love them. I'm also allergic to cats, horses, and hamsters, plus guinea pigs and mice and goats. Also flowers and dust. If I'm even around that stuff, I start sneezing like crazy. Wow, that stinks, I said. I know it, Camilla agreed. Hey, I said suddenly, are you allergic to periwinkles? Because there's one right next to you. Oh, Camilla jumped to her feet and looked at the ground. Isn't a periwinkle a flower? This is a different kind of periwinkle. I picked the tiny little snail off of a rock and I held it out for her to see. Aw, what a cute little guy, she said. I don't think I'm allergic to periwinkles. Hey, I have an idea, I said. Let's look for other things that you're not allergic to. We found some blue mussels that she wasn't allergic to. We found an eensy-beensy tortoiseshell limpet that was sliding along a smooth stone. Camilla wasn't allergic to that either. I picked up a rock and a little crab was underneath it. We didn't pick up that guy because crabs are so pinchy. But I found some nice long pieces of seaweed. Camilla wasn't allergic to those either. I showed her how to be a mermaid by wrapping seaweed around your head. We looked very lovely. My mermaid name was BB Longtail, and Camilla's mermaid name was Lala Sparkles, and here they are being mermaids. We were standing on a rock, posing our beautiful selves, when all of a sudden I heard clicking in my ear. Click, clackety, click. Camilla gasped. She was staring at me with a funny look on her face. Click, clackety, click. Oh my goodness, Piper, don't move a muscle, Camilla cried. What? I said. Shh. Camilla pointed to my shoulder. I kept my head very, very still, but out of the corner of my eyeballs, I could see something green and yellow sitting on my shoulder. It's a parakeet, Camilla whispered, and it's pecking at your earring. Chapter 11. Good luck. Very slowly and carefully, I walked back up to Camilla's house. The whole time, that bird just sat on my shoulder and kept pecking away at my earring. Click, clackety, click, click, click. The earring swung back and forth. The sea glass tickled my neck, but I didn't laugh or anything. I just walked stiff like a robot so the parakeet wouldn't get scared. When we got to Camilla's house, everyone was sitting on moving boxes in the living room and eating blueberry molasses cake off of paper towels. No sudden moves, okay, guys? Camilla said to them. But look what's on Piper's shoulder. Everyone looked. Oh my gosh, cried Mrs. Mackey. Is that a parakeet? My dad said. And here's a picture of the bird on her shoulder. They all walked up to me very quietly. Suddenly, the parakeet stopped pecking. I worried that he might fly away, but I guess he just loved that earring too much because after a few seconds, he started pecking again. With her fingertips, Camilla reached out and stroked his feathers very gently. Well, he was obviously someone's pet since he's so tame, said Mr. Mackey. Dad frowned. I can't think of anyone on Peekaboo who owns a parakeet. Can you? He asked Mom. Nope. I don't think this little fellow is from around here, Mom answered. He might have come from a long way off. I've heard of parakeets escaping from their cages and flying hundreds of miles away from home. I'll call around, though, to make sure no one's missing him on the island. It's funny that he landed right on Piper, Mrs. Mackey said. Maybe Piper reminds him of his old owner, Leo said. Click, clackety, click, click, click. Actually, I think it's the earring that attracted the bird, Mr. Mackey said. It looks like those toys they hang in bird cages, doesn't it? It does, Mom said. It's lucky you happened to be wearing that earring, Piper. If you hadn't, that bird might never have been found. It was lucky, I thought, which meant that maybe I had finally gotten rid of my too much good luck, bad luck. Chapter 12. Parakeet Green. When we got back home, Mom made a bunch of calls to see if anyone had lost a parakeet, but no one had. But Mrs. Spratt, who owns the island grocery store, had an old bird cage in her attic, and Mr. Aronson had some bird seed in his cupboard. Pretty soon we had that bird all settled in a cage. We even stuck in some branches for him to perch on. We put him in my bedroom on top of my dresser. Mom and I sat on my bed and watched as he ate his seeds and drank some water. He fluffed up his feathers and let them settle back down. After that, he nuzzled his beak into his wing in a very cozy way. He must be exhausted, poor little thing, Mom said. I squinted at him. Then I opened my eyes wide. Then I squinted again. You know what's funny? I said. What? He blends right in with the walls, I said. Mom looked at him. Oh my gosh, you're right, Piper. His body is the exact same color, lime green. In fact, they shouldn't even call that color lime green. They should call it parakeet green. I loved that idea because a parakeet green room wasn't at all scary. Just then, I thought of something. You know what? Camilla didn't sneeze even once tonight, I said. No, I don't think she did, Mom said as she put a towel over the parakeet's cage. I snuggled with Glunky and Jibs. Then I asked Mom to pull the cover over us, just like she covered the parakeet cage. She did, but she left a little blowhole for us so we wouldn't suffocate. Suddenly, I had a brainchild, and this time it was an excellent one. Right after I thought of it, I fell asleep, and guess what? When I woke up in the morning, there was ka-ching under my pillow. The next day in school, Ms. Arabella said she was going to change my seat. It was just in time, too, because Garth has been trying to burp the entire Jingle Bells song. Ms. Arabella put Camilla and me together at the desk next to where Nacho used to be. Only now there was a bird cage in its place, and inside that bird cage was a parakeet green parakeet. The parakeet was happily pecking at a dangly earring that was clipped to a loop on the top of the cage. Since Piper and Camilla are the ones who gave us our wonderful new class pet, said Ms. Arabella, they should be the ones who sit next to him. We'll all take turns feeding him and giving him water and cleaning his cage. But first, we have to name him. She told everyone in the class to write a name they liked on a piece of paper. Then we had to fold up the paper and put it in her giant tote bag. I wrote down the name Chippy. Camilla wrote down Mr. McFeathers. After Ms. Arabella collected all our names in her tote bag, she jiggled the bag around so that the names would get all mixed up. Then she brought the bag to Camilla. Would you like to pick one of the names from my bag? She asked. Camilla looked at that tote bag kind of nervously, like she was afraid she might pull out wart juice or something, but she was brave. She stuck her hand in the bag and pulled out one of the folded pieces of paper. Go on, said Ms. Arabella, open it up and let's see what we are going to name our new class pet. And here's a picture of them all looking at the parakeet. Camilla unfolded the paper. She looked at what was written. Then she made a face. Yikes, she said. It's okay, just read the name out loud, Camilla, Ms. Arabella told her. I just did. The name is Yikes, so that's what we had to call him. It's kind of a crummy name for a parakeet, but maybe I'll get used to it. The first thing I did after school that day was visit the fairy tree. I snuggled in close to the tree trunk. Hey in there, I said quietly. Thanks for the earring. I know I wasn't too crazy about it at first, but it turned out to be a good treasure. It really did come in handy. I guess you guys do know what you're doing after all. I gave the tree a good job pat. Then I added, just so you know though, an electric scooter would come in handy too. A little wind blew up from out of nowhere, and a leaf fluttered by my face. It tickled my ear and made me laugh. And then, guess what? The weirdest thing happened. I heard someone laughing right along with me. It was the tiniest little pipsqueak of a laugh. You had to listen extra hard to even hear it. And a second later, it was gone with the breeze. The end. And that was Piper Green and the Fairy Tree. Too Much Good Luck by Ellen Potter and illustrated by Qin Leng. I hope you enjoyed listening to it with me. I had a really fun time reading it. My name is Cindy. I am one of the children's librarians at Portland Public Library in Portland, Maine, and I will look forward to seeing you next time, friends. Bye-bye.